Happy Monday, everyone. I am AnnaLee Dragon, the director of the Kinderhook Memorial Library, and I do these book talks every week. And so this week I wanted to talk about some new books. I just got them in. They're not all brand new publication-wise, but it's taken our supplier a little longer to get us things recently than it used to. So some of these things have been out. Some of them are already on your holds lists, and some of them you may not know about yet. So I wanted to show you some stuff. Since there are so many, what I decided to do is I'm going to talk about a few that really grabbed my attention. And then I thought I'll make up what we have termed a virtual book display. So this is a new thing. We have this new software that we're using that allows us to make an online bookshelf to show you all of a certain, I don't know, whatever we want to display. So this time it would be new books. And what it does is it shows you the covers, and when you click on them, it brings you to a link in the catalog that tells you how to borrow it and then tells you a little bit more about the title too. So it's this great way, like you can't come in and, you can come in and look at the bookshelves, but there's limited appointments available. And so this makes it easier to, from the comfort of your own home, view our collections that we're putting together, the librarians, and curating, and then borrow them or put them on the holds list for you or whatever. So I'm pretty excited about it. So we're going to try it out with this. So I will focus on 5 or 6 books that came in that I'm really intrigued by. And then the rest of them will be on our virtual new bookshelf, and you can go right to our website and check it out. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to show you a book cover, and then I'm going to come and talk about it. And at the end, I will show the book covers again so that in case you missed the title or author, you'll be able to get that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get started. So we're starting out with fiction, and the first cover you just saw is by a newer author. She has some other books. She is Nigerian. Her name is Nnedi Okorafor, and this book is called Remote Control. Pardon my look down. I'm just looking at the book itself and some notes because I have not gotten to read it yet because it's brand new. She is born to Nigerian parents. This author lives in Cincinnati, Ohio, and writes fantasy and science fiction for both young adults and adults. So this book is a pretty slim volume, as you can see. It's not a huge read, but it's gotten fantastic reviews. And so it says that she's the adopted child of the angel of death. Beware of her, mind her. Death guards her like one of its own, which sounds completely intriguing to me. It says that her touch is death, and with a glance, a town can fall. And she walks alone, except for her fox companion. Who doesn't love a good animal companion in a book? Searching for the object that came from the sky and gave itself to her when the meteors fell and when she was yet unchanged, searching for answers. So Ursula K. Le Guin, who is one of the queens of fantasy, has said that this book contains more vivid imagination in a single page than in whole volumes of ordinary fantasy epics, which is giant praise coming from somebody who is such a well-known name in the genre. So if you are into a little fantasy or a little sci-fi, I think this is a name to watch out for. Veronica Roth, who wrote the Divergent series that turned into movies, also gave this huge praise, said her writing is wonderful. So, and it's not a big commitment. Sometimes a little book can be nice as an intro to somebody new because it's not a huge commitment of time. So if you are looking for a quick read that might be something a little different, check out Remote Control. Okay, I've got a couple more fiction, and then we're going to talk some nonfiction. This book looks right up my alley. For those of you who watch these book talks and know my predisposal to fantasy and mythology, and this is kind of a combo of the two. So this is called The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Goronit. I'm murdering that name. I apologize. The header on the book says, "Men die, gods die, she lives on." I'm fully in for that. So it's called The Witch's Heart, and it says, when a banished witch falls in love with the legendary trickster Loki, she risks the wrath of the gods in this moving, subversive debut novel that reimagines Norse mythology. I don't know what my problem is today. I'm trying to talk too fast. I'm excited, and then I'm messing it up. So there's a couple of things here that I'm really excited about. One, I love a feminine hero, a woman is the focus of the book. I love Norse mythology. Neil Gaiman, one of my favorite authors, wrote a volume of Norse mythology not that long ago, rewrote some traditional myths, loved it. And this is sort of a reimagining of the Norse mythology. And so if you know anything about it, that I think will pique your interest. If you don't, though, this could be a fun way to get interested in some of it. They say it's a deep journey into the mists of the ancient Norse world of gods, monsters, and humans. And I don't know about you, but I am up for anything that is an adventure or a trip anywhere right now. I am very tired of my own four walls. And so anything that kind of transports me, either mentally or emotionally, somewhere else is at the top of my list currently. A little escapism. So The Witch's Heart by, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce her name, but I'm going to show you the title just in case, and the author. So you will see her her book on my list, and hopefully you check it out and enjoy it. I am really looking forward to it. Okay, one more fiction book. So to call this next book highly anticipated would be the understatement of the year. It's called Clara and the Sun, and it's by Kazuo Ishiguro. And he is the winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. And this is his first new novel since he won that prize. So he wrote Never Let Me Go and The Remains of the Day, which is the one that most people know. But this is a wondrous, mysterious nature of the human heart. That's what the book's about. So it's from her place in the store, Clara, an artificial friend with outstanding observational qualities, watches carefully the behavior of those who come in and browse and of those who pass in the street outside. She remains hopeful a customer will soon choose her, but when the possibility emerges that her circumstances may change forever, Clara is warned not to invest too much in the promises of humans. It's a tough lesson, but probably well worth learning. This one a lot of you know about because it's got a lot of holds on it already, but I got a couple copies for us and it's here in person now. So if you have been waiting, you will be getting it soon. And if you didn't know it was coming out, now you can put it on your holds list. And now that we have copies, they'll be moving through the system real quick. So I'm really excited about this one. I hope you are too. And I wanted to talk about a couple nonfiction titles that came in. So we'll do that next. So the next book that I have here is called Four Lost Cities, A Secret History of the Urban Age by AnnaLee Newitz. And I did not pick it solely because her name is the same as mine. There aren't many AnnaLees, so that's interesting. This is a quest to explore some of the most spectacular ancient cities in human history and why people abandon them. And I thought the reason I pulled this one out of the pile is, I mean, it looks like a great book, but also just this idea of people abandoning city life. While it's not happening at this level right now, the pandemic did cause sort of a new migration of humans out of crowded cities and into more rural areas. Like our county actually was one of the largest population changes during the pandemic. A lot of New York City people moved up because, you know, if you're stuck inside and you live in an apartment in a big city, that's difficult. Plus there was the added danger of public transportation that you use. Most people don't own a car. And so some of those things that have been seen as like the reason you want to live in cities are changing with the environment changing, with things like pandemics happening. And so I just thought it was an interesting thing to revisit, the idea of people leaving cities and moving out of them, because that has been the opposite of the trend in recent years. Is we've seen more and more urbanization due to convenience and things like that. And now everybody is kind of flipping the switch and going the other way. So I thought this book would be a really interesting read right now. So it says that she journeys to a quartet of ancient ghost cities, asking not only why they once thrived, but why they ultimately vanished. The result is a deeply insightful look at human culture everywhere, inventive, social, resilient, and hauntingly fragile. So it sounded like a great story, great book, and some really good nonfiction. We have an excellent nonfiction book club here at the library that I thought might be very interested in this one. Okay, I've got a couple more for you. This one I've been waiting for, and I was hoping it was going to come in last month, and it didn't. But it's called Ida B. the Queen, my bad. The Extraordinary Life and Legacy of Ida B. Wells by Michelle Duster. And I thought this was excellent given that we are celebrating Women's History Month and that we just celebrated Black History Month. This is a great intersection of those two. Wells is considered by historians to have been the most famous Black woman in the United States during her lifetime. She was a journalist, a suffragette, anti-lynching crusader. She won a Pulitzer Prize. She is a phenomenal person, and her list of accomplishments is a mile long. And this book just is a beautiful version of her story, and it has some great artwork in it, which I love. just adds something to the book. And it's done in sort of a unique way. There are photographs, there are just different little vignettes throughout it, a timeline of her life. I think it looks really fantastic. And so this woman who wrote it, Michelle Duster, is a writer, speaker, professor, and champion of racial and gender equality. So she also sounds like a hero herself. And I was really looking forward to this one. So it's here now, and I'm super excited about it. I hope you are too. Okay, one or two more. So now we see that we have this, I'm into cooking at this moment, and I'm gonna do a cookbook, one of these book talks, I think, coming up, just because I think it would be fun. But this one, The Mighty Bean, 100 Easy Recipes That Are Good for Your Health, the World, and Your Budget by Judith Choate. And I really was interested in this one because it's looking at cooking as not just a way to sustain ourselves physically, but looking at the sustainability for the environment and for your budget and for a number of other things. And it's a beautiful little cookbook. It has lots of photographs, which I always love and is hard to know when you buy a cookbook online. But you can see gorgeous photographs of the food, lots of great recipes. And, you know, it says that if you're hungry for hearty, comforting dishes that are easy to make, legumes and beans are the powerhouse pantry ingredients you should add to your meals. So this is a way to get you to add more beans to your cooking. And they're very sustainably grown, and then they're inexpensive and they have a long shelf life. So it's really, and there's a number of reasons to do this, right? They're also very good for you. So I thought this was a great cookbook, and I haven't seen one focused on just beans, at least not recently. So I thought it would be a nice addition to our collection, especially with the number of vegetarians that we have in the area. Okay, one last book. So I wanted to end the week on a touching note, a heartwarming note, with When Harry Met Minnie by Martha Teichner, a true story of love and friendship. And would you look at those adorable puppies on the cover? I know we have a lot of animal lovers in the audience, including myself. So this one immediately grabbed my attention. It got great reviews from Jeanette Walls, who wrote The Glass Castle that many of you loved, and Kirkus called it a heartwarming and heartbreaking story of friendship and grief. So it says that it is a memoir of love and loss, of being in the right place at the right time, and of mysterious ways a beloved pet can bring people together. And I think there's a number of subjects here that are worth talking about in this moment. So grief in general, I think, is a good thing to be discussing right now, because we have all been through a lot in the last year, and many of us have lost people that we care about very much. And I think the idea of grieving is kind of kept private, but it's something that we're going to be collectively going through for a while now. So I love that this book sort of talks about grief in a very a way that normalizes it. Like, this is something we all go through at different phases, and this period that we're in right now is very heavy with it. We're going to be joyful when things are better and back to normal or more normal, but I think we're also going to be challenged to deal with a lot of what's happened and what we've lost and who we've lost in this time. So I love the idea of discussing grief. I also love the idea of kind of serendipity, which it talks about, the fact that these people just met by chance. It's one of those things that you don't think there's ever a design or a plan, and then something like that happens. And then I love animals. And so I am very excited to read this book about boy dog meets girl dog, the fairy tale part of this story. And they talk about these pet owners who meet each other and have these life circumstances going on, and the dogs who get along so well. And they met at a farmer's market. It was just a really kind of a meet cute design, which is why it's named When Harry Met Minnie, after When Harry Met Sally, which is one of my favorite movies. So I just am really excited to read this one. I know it will be a tearjerker, so I will have my tissues ready, but I also think it's going to restore some of my faith, which I need right now. I think we could all use. So that's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad that you're here. And I will post our bookshelf with all of the new books that I didn't get to talk about today, so you can see them and put holds on them. And if there's anything I can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask. I look forward to seeing you again next week, friends. Bye.